Why you burn in the sun and what to do about it. If you burn easily, you've probably been told it's just because you have pale skin, end of story. But that's not the full story. The truth, your skin's ability to cope with sunlight is shaped by your diet, your lifestyle, and your hormones, and even your mitochondria. And yes, you can absolutely change it. Let's unpack the science and bust some myths along the way. For those of you who may not have met me before, my name's Emma Voysey and I'm a health coach. And on this channel, I'm about unpacking the information, giving you the knowledge to protect yourself from disease, to reverse chronic conditions and lose the excess weight, and to understand the science behind why you need to do the things that you need to do. I hated science at school, just for the record. And I was rubbish at it because it was so flipping dull. It was delivered in such a boring way. And I wish there'd been somebody that taught science the way that I'm explaining it to you now, because I think that by making it interesting and fascinating, which it is, it's so much, you're so much more likely to retain the information and it sinks in. And then we learn from it. And bingo, Bob's your mother's brother. So let's get into sunlight and why we burn and what we can do about it. So part one, it's not just genetics, it's what you're made of. One of the biggest hidden drivers of sunburn is the fat you eat, specifically that ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids in your diet. So ancestrally, we consumed roughly 2-to-1 or 4-to-1 omega-6 to omega-3. But thanks to processed foods and ultra-processed foods and seed oils, today, that ratio is more like 20-to-1, and your skin pays the price. So here's a quote from Dr. Alexis Cowan. She's a Princeton-trained metabolic researcher. She really knows her stuff. So the lipid composition of your cell membranes directly affects their ability to withstand oxidative stress, including that oxidative stress from UV exposure. So seed oils like soybean, corn, sunflower and canola are high in unstable omega-6 polyunsaturated fats. And this is important to understand. These fats oxidize easily, and once they become part of your skin's cell membranes, they make you more sensitive, inflamed and more likely to burn. So in contrast, saturated fats from animals, butter, ghee, tallow, they're stable and anti-inflammatory, and they make for stronger, more resilient skin cells. So if you burn easily, your cells might be built with the biochemical equivalent of cling film rather than Kevlar. So what does DHA and EPA stand for? Because I know someone's going to ask. So DHA stands for docosahexaenoic acid, and EPA stands for eicosapentaenoic acid, and don't shoot me if I've got the pronunciations wrong. And they are fuel for your brain, firepower for your skin, and absolutely useless if you're relying on chia seeds alone. Omega-3s protect you, but only if you're eating the right kind, only if you're getting the right kind. So omega-3s like EPA and DHA are anti-inflammatory powerhouses, but unless you're eating fatty fish, caviar, pasture-raised lamb, they're some of the top sources, you're probably not getting enough. Plant-based omega-3s like flax or chia only contain ALA, and the body converts that very poorly. So ALA to DPA is approximately 5 to 10%, and ALA to DHA approximately half to 4%. And low DHA equals inflamed skin, poor visual signalling, and sluggish cell repair. So DHA, part 3, DHA converts sunlight into energy. So DHA isn't just a structural fat, it's bioenergetic. It literally helps to convert photons into usable cellular energy. That's another quote from Dr. Alexis Cowan. Your retina in your eye is 65% DHA by weight, and your brain is 35%. So DHA helps to turn light into electrical signals that will then let you see and think and respond. This happens at the quantum level. Quantum, another word that gets bandied around, that's just science's fancy word for little tiny microscopic particles of chaos where electrons, light and tiny particles throw a physics party. It's very, very, very tiny small amounts. So this literally means DHA influences. Mikey's gone up that hill over there. Mikey, what are you doing? This literally means that DHA influences how electrons move through the neurons in your brain. Better electron flow equals better brain performance. Think of it like wiring a house. So the house is your brain, the wires are your neurons, the electrons are the messages, and the DHA is the copper conductor that makes it all run smoothly. So when people say you are what you eat, it's absolutely true. The fats in your diet literally shape how well your brain runs on sunlight. Number 4, what about vitamin D? So let's not forget the big one, vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin. So when UVB light hits your skin, it triggers a reaction that turns cholesterol into vitamin D3, an essential nutrient for immune health, hormone balance, mood regulation, bone strength, inflammation control, even cancer protection. But here's the kicker. If you're constantly wearing sunscreen, makeup with SPF or avoiding the sun altogether, then your skin doesn't get the chance to make it. So Dr. Michael Hollick, who is a world-renowned vitamin D researcher, has said sensible sun exposure is the most efficient way to boost your vitamin D levels. Supplements help, but the sun does more than just raise vitamin D, it triggers a cascade of health-promoting signals. And contrary to popular belief, wearing sunscreen doesn't prevent people from synthesising vitamin D, UK health experts in consensus review. So that one threw me a bit because I thought that if you wore sun cream, you didn't get vitamin D at all. So your body even has a safety valve. It stops making vitamin D from sunlight once you've got enough. So there's no risk of overdosing. It's just another clever, even evolutionary design. So wait a minute. Doesn't sunscreen block vitamin D? Well, apparently not. It's a common belief that wearing sunscreen just stops your skin from making vitamin D. And technically, if you applied a perfect thick layer of high SPF sun cream everywhere, over every bit of skin, you covered every single portion of exposed skin, then yes, it could block up to 95 to 99% of the UVB, which is the wavelength needed for vitamin D synthesis. But in real life, almost nobody applies sunscreen like that. Most people don't use enough, miss spots, apply it too late, or they've already been in the sun, or they use a lower SPF that still allows some UVB through. So that's why public health reviews, like the one from the UK health authorities, now say wearing sunscreen doesn't prevent people from synthesising vitamin D. And that was from a UK expert consensus on sun exposure in 2023. So in fact, studies show that people who use sunscreen regularly often have higher vitamin D levels, likely because they feel more confident and to spend longer outside, or they're spending longer outside because they're using sunscreen. Part 5. Your eyes tell your skin what to do. Now, about the type of sunscreen. Chemical sunscreens absorb UV rays from the sun and they convert them to heat. Some of the ingredients, like oxybenzone, have been flagged for hormone disruption and environmental concerns. You know, they get into the sea and then they disrupt or damage wildlife. Mineral sunscreens, on the other hand, like zinc oxide or titanium dioxide, the kind that make you look white like a ghost, they sit on top of the skin and they reflect UV rays. They're safer for you and they're safer for the coral reefs, but yes, they can still completely block UVB if they're applied too thickly. But, you know, who does that? I try and put as little of that stuff on as possible. So I have a spider on my hat. So the takeaway is you don't need to fear sunscreen, but you don't need to smother yourself in it either. So for most people, moderate, unprotected sun exposure, 10 to 20 minutes, a few times a week, will give you enough sun to generate enough vitamin D in your body. So then you apply a non-toxic mineral sunscreen after your body's had the chance to manufacture some vitamin D from the sun, or cover up with clothes. And if you're going to be outside for any length of time, or especially midday in summer, just be sensible, cover yourself up. Don't roast yourself in the sun till you look like a lobster that's just been cooked. Bottom line is balance. Vitamin D production is not all or nothing, and it does so much more for you than just topping up your vitamin D tank. Part 5, your eyes tell your skin what to do. Your skin doesn't respond to sunlight in isolation. It gets its cue from your eyes. Now, your eyes are basically your brain sticking its head out the window, like the dog does in the back of the car. That's right, you've got brain on the outside too. I wonder if having big eyes means that you've got a big brain. So when UV light hits your retina in the eye, it signals to your brain that it must release something called POMC, a hormone that breaks into alpha MSH, so you tan rather than burning. Also beta endorphin, which makes sun exposure feel good. Hello, beach bliss. But your sunglasses, if you wear sunglasses all the time and you block that natural light coming into your eyes, you block that natural preparation system, your skin doesn't get the memo. And bingo, you are going to burn. You might think you look cool in those Ray-Bans, but it's not so cool when you turn that lobster red colour, is it? And then you can't go out in the sun at all, and then you peel, and it's all horrible. So think about not wearing the sunglasses quite as much as you perhaps normally do. Number 6. Late night eating makes you burn faster. Yes, really. So late night eating disrupts your circadian rhythm, which messes with hormone release, skin repair, and inflammation levels. Your gut and your skin communicate. And when your gut thinks it's daytime at midnight, then your skin doesn't prepare properly for the next morning's UV exposure, UV rays. So we're back to that old chestnut. Front load your day, eat your meals earlier in the day. Big breakfast within an hour of waking, good sized lunch, light or no dinner, better sleep, better repair, better sun resilience. And somebody asked me, or somebody mentioned in the comments last week sometime, that she thought that the French ate their main meal in the middle of the day. And yes, they do. They still do that. In Europe, in lots of places, certainly in France, lunch is a big deal. Not so much in Spain, where the Spanish often do eat really late. But in France, the car parks are free at lunchtime because it's lunchtime and everybody needs to park up so that they can go and eat lunch. And lunch is, even when we lived in France and the children were at school, they had nearly a 2-hour lunch break, which was brilliant because we lived in a village for a while called Saint-Genius-de-Fontedie, and it was in the south near Béziers. And Oscar, our son, used to cycle home. He just thought it was amazing that he could just cycle around this safe little village. He used to cycle home for lunch. So light is information. It's going to tell your body what time it is, and your hormones are listening. That's another quote from Dr. Alexis Cowan. It turns out that breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper was spot on. Number 7, blood sugar spikes equal inflamed skin. So unstable blood sugar raises systemic inflammation, which means that your skin is more reactive and less resilient and slower to repair. If your diet is high in those beige carbs, the sugar, the seed oils, or ultra-processed snacks, your skin's going to let you know. And I see this all the time. I was following somebody into a shop the other day, a group of 4 women, and they all had vests on. It was very hot. And they're all burning on their shoulders, really, really angry and red looking. I can tell you, absolutely, without honest to God, straight up, honest to God, sir, I have not burned one single time this summer. And I've been out every day in glorious sunshine in the middle of the day like this. Not a bit of it. I didn't burn last year either, because once I started eating more sardines, increasing my DHA, my EPA, and I cut out all the sugars, my skin's more resilient. So Insulin resistance also impairs your mitochondria. Remember those little guys, they're the powerhouses, those tiny engines in your cells. And they're crucial for energy, for repair, and for making melanin. Number 8, mitochondria matter and blue light wrecks them. Your mitochondria produce energy, and in the skin they help to generate melanin. But guess what? And melanin is the colour, the pigment that makes your skin go brown, or makes you brown if you're brown to start with, gives the skin its colour. So people closer to the equator have much darker skin, and those of us who are from northern climates or northern reaches, we're much paler. Whoops, she says walking into a tree. But guess what? Your mitochondria produce energy and they help generate melanin, but guess what destroys mitochondrial function? Excess blue light from screens and LEDs, LED lights. Non-native EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. The non-native kind being from Wi-Fi, phones, tech, the stuff that's all around us. Chronic indoor living. So back to Dr. Alexis again. Light isn't just about vision, it directly alters mitochondrial output and redox signalling. And the wrong light at the wrong time sends confusing cues to your cells. So if you want better melanin and better repair and less burning, swap the Netflix binge, swap the Netflix binge for a sunset walk. Number 9, melanin, nature's energy battery. This one's wild but real. So melanin, that pigment that gives you a tan or makes your skin darker, may also play a role in human photosynthesis. Some researchers believe that melanin helps to convert light into usable energy. This would explain why we feel so good in the summer compared with how we feel in the wintertime. And how do they know this? So researchers found in Chernobyl, where they had the massive nuclear accident, they found mushrooms that were thriving on radiation. Even in all that radiation, the mushrooms were thriving. They were black, but they were still growing. And that was thanks to their melanin. And you can do your own mushroom magic at home as well. I've said this before, it's a tip from Dr. Tim Spector. If you buy mushrooms in the shop, you bring them home, you leave them out in the sun for half an hour, they're still living plants, they're still alive. They manufacture vitamin D from leaving them out in the sun, and that makes them better for you when you eat them. They've got higher levels of vitamin D. Just half an hour, that's all it takes. Don't do what I usually do, which is put them out in the sun, forget about them, and then find them next day and they've all shriveled up and wrinkled because the air's very, very dry here up in the mountains. So don't do that. Number 10. Sunscreen hysteria, missing the bigger picture. Yes, of course, burning is bad. We don't want to burn. Be sensible about sun exposure. Like I said earlier, 10 to 20 minutes, a few times a week is ideal. You can go for longer than that, but don't roast yourself. That's where we go wrong with our sun exposure. Come this way, Max, come on. Underexposure to sunlight is often worse. Moderate sun exposure lowers the risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cancer, that's breast, colon, prostate, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disease, and heart disease. That's six categories. So UV exposure is the primary method of boosting serum vitamin D levels, which supports tissue repair, regulates inflammation, and may even offer protection against certain cancers. That was quoted from a 2023 peer-reviewed study on UV and immunity. Some skin cancers, like basal cell melanomas, may be linked to UV, but melanoma is far more complex. In fact, chronic sun avoidance may increase your cancer risk more than sun exposure. That's amazing, isn't it? So we've all been avoiding and worrying and fearing the sun, told to stay out of it, cover ourselves in chemicals if we're out there. And in fact, you may be at higher risk of melanomas if you don't get enough sun exposure. So what can you do to burn less and benefit more? Ditch the seed oils. Fried foods are not your friends. They never were. Eat more omega-3s. That's the fats that you get in fatty fish, in caviar and lamb particularly. Those are the really high ones. Let sunlight hit your eyes, especially in the morning. Oh, and on the fish, make sure that they are wild caught rather than farmed fish, because fish, when you eat fish, like when you eat any animals, you're eating what the animal ate, and farmed fish are fed on things like soy and corn rather than their natural diet, which is algae. So they just don't have the levels of DHA and EPA that the wild fish have. So they're, whilst they should be beneficial, they really aren't so great. So wild caught wherever possible. Get outside early. Sunrise light equals metabolic gold. Eat like it's 1955. Big breakfast, small dinner. Avoid the blue light at night time. That's a really big one. Use bond charge glasses. There's a link below to my affiliate link in the description. Bond Charge is my favourite company of choice because they are super efficient. You can get your prescription glasses from them as well. And actually, getting your prescription glasses made by Bond Charge with blue light blocking tint in the lenses, but proper blue light blocking tint, not that really pale one that you get from regular high street opticians, is cheaper than buying your glasses from the opticians. And they've got great frames too. They're really, really nice, and they're shipped out worldwide. Like I said, there's a link below. Prioritise your sleep, real food, movement and time outdoors all year round. So movement, exercise, do it outside. Respect your melanin. It's not just about the tan. Your body was designed for sunlight. It's not the enemy, it's a biological ally. Support it, protect it, and let it power you up from the inside out. No more fear, just nourishment by nature. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this is helpful. It's summertime, so what better subject to talk about on a beautiful day like today than the fact to talk about sunlight. And if you haven't already heard, my brand new course, Maximum Fat Loss, it's finally ready. It's just launched. This is the solo version of my Sweet Enough 3-month coaching course. It's now finally ready for you to get your teeth into, and there's a link in the description. It's on early bird, special offer, special release price, which is going to run to the end of July. And I've worked tirelessly on this course. I'm continuing to add more fantastic content to it as well, which will be available to you to the end of time. I'm not going to make it only available for the 12 weeks that you're doing the plan. You can have it forever. And you can be part of my stronger, leaner, smarter community. So you can all chat about it amongst yourselves, and I'll be there to answer your questions. If you've enjoyed this video, you might like to watch one of these two next. And in the meantime, please keep it real, get some sunlight, nourish, don't punish, and look after yourselves. Till next time, cheerio for now.